Hey everybody, Boris Lasser with VK Forex. Welcome to our daily technicals for 4/16/13, where the yen crosses have really rebounded off the lows. As always, past performance not indicative of future results. Trading Forex carries high level risk may not be suitable for all investors. High degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to trade any such leverage products, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. Possibility exists you could sustain a loss some of your initial investment. You should not invest money you cannot afford to lose. Should be aware of all risks associated with trading margin and seek advice from a financial advisor if you have any doubts. Information including commentary trade for Secom should be relied upon as subsistence benefit research, which should be formed for making investment decisions. VK Forex LLC and Com merely providing this information for general information. The information and opinions presented here do not take into account any particular individual investment objective, financial situation, or needs. All investors should obtain advice based upon their unique situation for making investment decisions. They should tailor the trade size and leverage according to their own personal risk appetite. We're not responsible for any loss incurred on investments made by readers and clients as a result of the information contained here, and we do not recommend investment, legal, tax, or other professional advice. Such advice is needed. Go to a professional. Okay, look at the yen. I think this has been the story of the night, of course. Oops, where's my trade? Here we go. So this is just a very granular look, half-hour look at the yen. And of course, we had the very, very thin conditions on the close yesterday, North American close, in the peak of the panic post the tragedy in Boston, where the yen fell through the 96s. But then very much quickly recovered. It looks like obviously a lot of bargain hunting that's been going on in Asia. The critical thing though here is we fell out of bed yesterday at 98, right? Essentially off of pretty much profit taking and distribution yesterday. And now the big question is, are we coming back through 98 to only turn back down? So the yen looks to be obviously very, very healthy recovery, lots of bargain hunting here, but does it have enough momentum to carry? And the question here is, it needs enough momentum to carry really through yesterday's highs, which is 98.25s, in order to make a push back to 98.50s. It's still, in my opinion, basically has 25, 50, and then ultimately 99 as the really, really big resistance levels. So as it chews through these offers, it's going to have to go through a lot of barriers in order to really make a full recovery. But having said this, this is pretty much of a V-shaped recovery, so it's relatively strong. Even if we turn back down here, it's unlikely we're going to test the bottom. We're probably going to turn back down and then sort of test on a higher low as we go forward. So this kind of recovery looks to be on a longer term basis like we finally found a little bit of a let's go on a 4-hour basis. Like we finally found a value proposition here. Here on a 4-hour basis, you can really see the value proposition they found. But now, as we enter this 98, 98.50 zone, is a big shelf of resistance that's going to have to really barrel through. Those of you who are trading support resistance, this is obviously looks like to be a relatively low risk area for resistance. Those of you who are trading momentum, I don't think I would be looking to get involved unless it barreled through 98.25 at least as a momentum trade. So that's also had an impact, of course, on all the yen crosses and kind of made the euro and everything else come back off the lows. Now the euro ran up all the way up to 84s. The euro to me is kind of interesting because yesterday was very, very negative, and I really thought that we may have kind of broken the key levels to the downside. But if you look actually, if you look at, well, this is a half-hour chart. You can look at it basically the 30-50 level. Yesterday we took down, we went down through the 30-50s, but never really came into the 130 level, which is the key level to break. And it looks to be like the euro is just still bouncing this 30-50 to 31-50 level as the major range expansion level. And until we kind of break one end or the other, this seems to be the consolidation range that we're in. For the day today, I think the key level to the upside, obviously, first 3100s and then 3125s as the upper end of this range to the euro. On a lower end, I think we break the 30-30s here. This then turns a much more negative posture, because if we just don't have enough juice here and we start breaking 30-30s, 130 really comes into view. And then if you look at the longer time scale here, so on a longer time scale, so here's the 130, which is a big support area. So I do think that there'll be a little bit of support here. But then if it breaks through there, it eventually takes us all the way down to 129.50, which was the big breakout area a couple of weeks ago. So euro looks to be still struggling. And in many ways, if you look in the 4-hour chart, you could get aggressive on the short side simply because you could say, well, look at this. I have lower highs. I really haven't broken out. Every dead cat bounce has been at a lower level, and you can try to press this. It's interesting. It definitely feels more like a short than it is a long, just on a 4-hour chart. And a press here could possibly bring us down. But to me, the more convincing short would be if it broke the lows, because then you really do have a lot of acceleration through to the 130s and then below as a possible short. Cable is just probably the quietest one of all right now. It's consolidated. We talked about the fact that 5250 is a key support level, and it's definitely holding for right now. And again, here this is a level also that if it breaks to the downside, creates much more momentum. It would basically create a double top distribution here and create and take us all the way back down to a full unwind of 51.50. So the cable looks quiet, but still mildly bearish on the near-term basis. And then Aussie had big breakdowns for the last 2 days. I mean, just if you look at the Aussie, this is 300-point move or 200-point move in a matter of 2 days. Big breakdowns, but now a big sharp comeback, retrace comeback. But still, I still think this 104, which was support, now acts as resistance. 103.50 was a very key support. We broke it yesterday. It's natural to come back to this 103.50. Generally, I think as long as we bounce this 103.50, 104, it's just a retrace move. And as we stop, if we dip below the 103.50, it opens up back to 103 that we've been talking about. This is a big distribution negative move, and if we break down the fresh lows here, which is what 102.89, it really opens up the path towards 102.50 and 102. So Aussie has to go very high and very far in order to make up and turn this into a more bullish posture. Right now, it's a sort of a sell the rallies, especially against the 104s. You may not even get into the 104s or break below the 103.50s. There is, of course, the potential here that it could double test the bottom here at 103s. So it depends on how aggressive and how much you're looking to position yourself on. But still, I still think that the break of the 103s to the downside could create a further move towards at least the 103s, 103.50s to move towards the 103s. You can see the same kind of unwind happening in Europe, but it's not as sharp and as distinct, which is failure back through the 103.50s, kind of comes back to the 103.30s to test the double bottom. But really, what you see here so far in Asia was a big short covering squeeze, big short covering rally, and unless it starts to really test the upper end of this ranges, it may be running out of steam. It may very well be really coming to an end. Last thing I kind of wanted to just look at was the euro yen, because that's obviously been the driver of a lot of trade, both up and down. And as you can see, euro yen, big distribution. They did buy it up, and I think the one thing that they can encourage the longs is that there was this value proposition buy here at 125. But if we start to redistribute all the way back down to 125, start breaking the lows, that's a very negative long-term construct. So for now, though, the euro yen kind of holding around the 28s. This breakout back above this 28.50, back up towards the 29, would make a much more bullish posture. It would really be a spike bottom and then a return back up. It's an interesting night. It's either a dead cat bounce on a short covering or a big move that's going to catch a lot of the shorts by surprise if it starts to build as the day progresses, which is why the upper end of the ranges become very interesting here as a potential trade, as well as the lower end of the ranges, which have now really been moved off quite considerably. So it's going to have to be a much longer way to the lower side than it is to the upside. Anyways, this is Boris Schlossberg. Wish you guys the best of luck and the best of trading. Over and out.